Hi, this is Jared Polak, and we are excited that you're back. I'm glad you're on this podcast. Wherever you're at right now, whether you're at home, at your work, driving in your car, working out, listening to this podcast, this is going to be high value. And the topic today is the value of values. The topic is the value of values. And I really have no idea if that is grammatically correct in the English language, but the idea is that there's tremendous value, there's tremendous worth as a leader. Incredible amounts of worth to have clarity on your personal values, are those guiding principles that lead you and direct you as a leader. And many people that listen to these podcasts, they're solopreneurs or are entrepreneurs or have larger businesses with people. And this is going to be true for everyone, no matter where you're at. This is a significant topic. And what I want to do is briefly talk about why it's important, but then I'm going to tell you how to create your value, or really how to discover your values, more than even create those values. And I'll tell you a little bit about what I did and how it works for me. Well, the reason that values or guiding principles are important, and the first thing we need to do is look at and discover your personal value system and what are your personal guiding principles. And then that can be later, the process would be creating value or guiding principles for your business. And we're not going to go as much into or at all into the business creation process now for values for your company. But going through this and understanding how to create your personal values, it's going to be very helpful when you go to create that for your company. And so really, when you have guiding principles or you have values, and I'll give you some examples of what that can look like. The reason those are important is because you make all decisions based on your value system. And so when you're presented with a personal decision or you're presented with a business decision, you will make a decision first and foremost based on your values. So if there's something that goes against your values or your guiding principles, it's not even something that enters your arena of something you would even consider doing. And so let me give you a couple examples. So I have personal values and business values, and they're really the exact same thing. I have a personal vision statement and a business vision statement, which is different. We're not going to go into visions today, hopefully in another podcast. So my values are, I choose to use simple, shorter words. Some people use sentences for their guiding principles. It can be different depending on who you are, but my values are truth, empowerment, and the pursuit of freedom. Truth, empowerment, and the pursuit of freedom. And a little bit of how that relates to my business in terms of, I help and I work with a lot of business owners. Some people call me their coach or mentor, or I don't really care what people call me. I help people get results. I want to double the size of people's business, and I also want people to have extraordinary personal lives. And when I approach my business with truth, empowerment, and the pursuit of freedom, the first thing is sometimes I have to tell people things that they don't want to hear. And sometimes there are certain things that if I didn't say them, it would actually benefit me in the long run. Meaning, when people pay me a certain amount of money to invest in my products and services, I could say certain things or flatter people in a certain way, or unfortunately, some people manipulate people in a certain way by not telling them some of their weaknesses, by not challenging them enough, by not hitting them on the head and allowing them to really face the current situation they're dealing with. And honestly, sometimes if you do that, you'll end up working with someone longer because they're not forced to deal with certain issues. But I'm committed to telling people the truth and telling them really what I believe to be the truth in terms of their business and their life. And you have to do it in a loving way sometimes. You don't have to do it in a rude, crazy way, but I'm committed to the truth, as well as how I do all my business practices. I'm not gonna have integrity or honesty as one of my core values, but obviously that is a value, and truth loops into that. So I do everything I do in terms of my business, in terms of my personal life, in regards to truth. And then empowerment. That's the second one, empowerment. My goal is to help people help themselves, essentially. Feed people one time and it only gives you a certain result. Obviously, you empower someone to become a fisherman and they can eat fish for a lifetime. That's the idea. I want to help people create systems in their business and their life, help them win, and so that's not a one-time temporary thing. I also don't want to make someone dependent on me. To not be able to run their business without me. I'm going to keep adding so much value that people are going to want to continue to work with me. However, hey, I don't want them to have to feel like I entrench myself in their business to a certain point that if they want to leave or move, that it's going to be detrimental to them. No, I want to empower people. It's all about helping people with empowerment. The lastly, in terms of my value, and these are similar to business and life, and when I talk a little bit more about how it applies to life, those values are described a little bit differently. But in terms of business value, the pursuit of freedom, that's the thing that I think is really significant. I believe we live in a free a country where we have opportunities for freedom. And that oftentimes in creating businesses that they end up giving us a poor lifestyle. And so you create a business because you want a certain lifestyle, but you end up almost imprisoning yourself to your business or your way of life. Personally, in terms of the pursuit of freedom, I really want to help people not be addicted to certain lifestyles or certain habits that don't help them win at life. And so for me, it's all about the pursuit of freedom, the pursuit of having this opportunity to have liberty or freedom in your life. And so everything I do in terms of coaching, I'm not going to always push someone to the point where it's going to hurt their marriage. Of course I won't do that, or hurt their personal life, although sometimes people might come up with a certain goal and they say they want to earn a certain amount of income, and I guarantee, even though I want to double people's income, I want to do it in a way that allows freedom in that process. Not that they're not going to work hard, but I'm never going to do something that's contrary to that value system or helping someone pursue freedom, or definitely I don't want to create a business or a life that's going to make me imprisoned to what I do. And so that's a little bit about creating these values. And so one thing I want to just kind of suggest in terms of an action item, first and foremost, think about people you look up to. Think about a role model. Think about someone in the business community, or think about someone that's maybe a spiritual leader, a pastor. Think about someone who's a part of a cause. What are the values that you want to emulate? What are some values that you really appreciate about these leaders? Maybe it's your parent, maybe it's a grandparent, someone in your life. What are the values that you cherish that they have? And oftentimes when you look at other people and their value system, those that you aspire to, oftentimes those are also your own values. So go ahead and think about those people and write those values down. And then for yourself, maybe come up with a list of 10 different things that are your guiding principles or your values. And I recommend trying to get that list narrowed down to 3 different items. If you want to make it more, that's fine. If you want to make it less, that's fine too. But I kind of look at 3 as a benchmark. Make that whole list. And then honestly, you can ask people around you what they think your values are. And again, the creation process for value system takes time. Sometimes it takes months or years for people. Sometimes it takes a lifetime for people to create that. But I want to encourage you to start that now. It's going to give you that foundation for potentially creating your future business values with your company, but also just going to give you some foundations for how you're going to live your life. And it's going to ultimately give you more clarity of where you want to go in life when you have that already set and laid out. All right? I know this is a really tough one, and I'm probably going to have some follow-up on this value system and the value of values, but I encourage you to take action, have fun, live out your values, and make it a better than amazing day.